Gonna start working on decals here now. I have one of the national insignias ready to go. And I have Mr. Mark Setter and Mr. Mark Softer. This goes first. This goes second. This is what's going to soften the decal and allow it to suck down like in the panel lines and get really tight with the surface. This one we're going to brush on our wing surface to give our decal something to slide around on. Always apply a liberal amount. Okay, and okay, we want to go right about here. Just like that. Okay, and then I've got one of these little cotton buds here, and I'm just going to roll it over top. So many people have different ways of doing decals. This is the way I do them. And it works good for me. This will push out all the excess fluid underneath and pick up what we don't want. And we got our position where we want it. And now I'm going to go over it immediately with the softer. And again, this is the way I do it. I've seen other people do things differently where they're going to let this set and dry overnight before they put the softer on. And I have not seen a reason to need to do that. I just put the softer on right away, and she will suck down really well. Just like that. Now I already did the mouth up front, and it's still working on sucking down. It's still wet. So we're going to walk away from this a little bit and just let these set. And then we'll come back and work on the rest. After getting these two decals set, the national insignia and the shark's mouth, and letting them set for over an hour and a half, this one has sucked down really, really nice. You can see there's actually a little blister here for aileron control linkages. And I don't know if that's going to show up in the picture, but it did suck down really nice around that. It's down in the panel lines well. However, I did have some issues with the shark's mouth. It would not lay down well right up here along this nose and then around these little, I'm not exactly sure what these are. There's like little vents up on the nose of the airplane. I'm embarrassed to say that I don't know what they are. But there's one here, and then there's one here on the other side. And I did not want to draw down there or around this nose. So I put the Mr. Mark Softer on there a couple more times, and then I was just rolling and rolling, just very gently rolling with this cotton bud here to try to press them down, and they would press down but would not stay down. So what I've done is I went back and I've used the Micro Sol. This is another decal setter or softer. I usually use the Mr. Mark. But different decals will react differently to different setting and softening solutions. So I'm trying this, and it looks like this is doing a little bit better with this shark's mouth. So the microsol may be a better choice. And I have the micro set also. So you would use this one first and then use this one second. So these may be a better choice with the Eduard decals. Now, you can all do whatever you think is appropriate to do with the Eduard decals. However, there's all kinds of internet, chatter about, oh, you should need to remove the carrier film after applying them, and yada yada yada. And I don't understand why that is such a push to do that. Apparently, that removable carrier film was an accident, from what I understand and what I've read about it. They did not intend that to be. Now, I successfully removed that carrier film on Eduard decals before, and they look fine. It just leaves behind the color, which is great. However, why risk messing it up? And why bother removing those when you can't even tell that they're on here? Especially after you clear coat them. You can't tell at all that there's carrier film on them. So personally, I don't ever mess with Eduard carrier films. I just leave it alone. Just apply it, let it dry, let it suck down good, clear coat it, and boom, it's good. So whatever that push is, everybody has their own way of doing things, and that's fine and dandy. That's the way the world works. Everyone's a little bit different. But I'm just saying that it is not necessary, and I think it's an extra step that could potentially damage your decal. So why bother? Okay, we're going to move on here. I'm going to get a few more done. You can see I got the tail numbers on. And I got this on here. So we're gonna move ahead, forge ahead, and get a few more done. I now have the decals complete. As you can see, insignias, shark's mouth. What little nomenclature I put on here, we'll talk about that here in just a minute. I started doing some weathering here, paint wear from walking up on the wing to get in the cockpit. I still have lights to do. There's a bunch of little things to do yet, but I wanna do weathering first. I did some chipping around the gun bays. I don't know how noticeable that is. I might need to do just a little bit more there to get it to stand out a little better. Okay. But I wanted to talk about nomenclature for a minute, because this is the page that shows where all the nomenclature goes. And you can see there's a lot. Now, I maintain with these aircraft during the war, when they were overpainting, and so like all this olive drab that was overpainted, all the nomenclature underneath that was painted over. And they didn't care about replacing any of it. Why would they? All they cared about was keeping these things in the air and flying and combat ready. So I didn't put any nomenclature on any areas except the bottom. Okay, and obviously I only put it where there are no stripes. So we've got a couple out here, the wingtips. There really isn't a lot on the bottom. And as far as the top goes, you've got them on the ailerons, the elevators, the horizontal stab. You got some on the sides of the fuselage for access panels and whatnot. But mostly Mostly I've left nomenclature off for this reason, because of all the overpainting. So next up, we're going to be working on doing some weathering on the olive drab at this point, because we gotta dirty that up, make it look a little more used and worn on. Here, just to give you an idea, this is the sheet of nomenclature you get, and there's a couple spots I've cut out. You actually get 2 of them in the kit, and you can see this one here. I've taken the majority out for another one I built, and I had to take a couple off of this sheet also for this particular kit. So that's where we're at now. Stand by. We're going to be doing some weathering next. Okay, weathering. I'm going to use Tamiya panel line accent, and I'm not going to use this brush that comes with it. It's a little bit big for me. So I just got this old fine tip one where the tip is just not good for painting, but it's fine for this. Okay. So, and I also have a very, very small amount of low odor mineral spirits, or white spirits, some people call it. And then I have another old brush that I don't care about. It's all frayed out. It's just garbage to me. So we're going to use these 2 brushes in the fine line panel accent. We're going to add some features. So I'm just going to run along these panel lines, and it'll follow some of them. Like there, it's wicking a little bit. Okay, this is the way I do this. I have seen so many different people with different techniques, how they do this kind of stuff. Well, I'm going to show you how I do it. All right, so I'm just going to work just this area for the moment. Now, we'll let that set for just a second. I'll just a little bit more here. That one's a little heavy. That's okay. There's nothing that says it has to be an exact way, right? Okay, now I'm going to take the white spirits and just going to dampen, and then I'm going to wipe this off. I'm going to have a paper towel here just in case. And I'm going to go back, and I'm just going to start lightly brushing these areas where I laid this panel line accent in. And brush these areas, because I don't want it to look like it's all bled all over the place like it has here. So the white spirits, though, will fix that up for us. Okay, get just a little bit more, brush it off. That's a little heavy there. I'm going to wipe that off with a paper towel. Okay, so you can see where we're going with this here. We're just trying to bring out some age, little dirtiness. We won't see as much of this on the aluminum. We'll probably just highlight the accent or just the panel lines a little bit on the bare aluminum. Okay. Look at that. Okay. So this is what we have now versus the other side. Okay. And we can go back and we can dress this up. We can do anything we want with this. If we decide it's a little bit heavy, go back with the white spirits again and rub it down a little bit more. The white spirits does not affect the Vallejo air. And Vallejo air is what I used for this olive drab. Now, it should be noted that Vallejo air does not bond well over top of the all-clad aluminum, which is to be expected. It just doesn't, there's not enough tooth to the all-clad for it to bond well. Well, that made it really, really easy to do this chipping on either side here. And once it's clear coated, it's going to be fine. However, it should be noted, I'm going to clear coat the tops of these wings, this national insignia. I'm not going to clear coat this tail because it will dull down this aluminum despite whether it's glossy or not. I've just found that you lose something when you clear coat them, and I don't like it. So there are some areas I am not going to be clear coating. I'm going to try to be very specific on some of these decals to seal them down good and to get rid of the shininess, and try to keep my overspray off of the aluminum if I can. So we'll see how that goes. But so now you see what we're after here. Okay, and we'll do the same thing with the flap. It's the wrong brush. Flap's got a line right here. There's some little doodad going on in there. We'll just highlight it a little bit. There we go. And right down here as well. Okay, a little dab of the white spirits. Let's pull down on this. See if it gives us a little streaking effect, maybe. Streaking is good. Okay, same thing up here. And don't worry about trying to make this look like all super uniform or anything. Nature is not uniform. When it comes to natural weathering and whatnot, it's not going to look uniform. Okay. So there's our flap now. See, we got a little age on it versus the other side. Okay. And this is the stuff I really, really enjoy, because this is where the model really starts coming to life. You start giving it personality and showing its story, if you will. So this, in my book, is the best part of a build. So I'm going to go ahead and do the weathering on the other side. In any other areas, I'm going to work here. And there's no point in, boring you with all of that. So as soon as I get this done, we'll be back. Okay, real quick here, I went ahead and did the weathering on the other side of the fuselage. A little bit up here in front of the windshield where there were some panel lines. I did the sides of the fuselage here and here. And now I went back on this side, the side we started with, and I went over it more with the white spirits. It was just popping too much, especially when I went back to review the video segment I had recorded. It was way too much. It just didn't look right at all. So I went back and I went over it again and wore it down some more and blended it out a little bit more. And I think we're looking much, much better now. Now in person, I think it looks quite nice. On camera, it's a little hard to tell. And I did weather down the insignias on the side of the fuselage a little bit. Probably need to do a little bit here. Be warned that I should have mentioned this before, that the Tamiya fine line or the panel line accent cannot be used over the all clad. If you were to clear coat it, then I think you would be fine. But if you use it over top of bare all clad aluminum, just like this is right now, or on the bottom of the fuselage, it will eat it right off. You'll ruin your finish. Just be warned by that, okay? So clear coat it if you're going to use panel line accent on bare aluminum areas. I am not going to do that on this particular model because I want to keep the aluminum looking the way it's looking right now. I will use a little bit on these outer panels here that are painted. But otherwise, the majority of the weathering, panel line weathering, is done. I still need to do exhausts. So we'll get those on. And of course, landing gear yet, which I have all constructed. Just needs to be assembled and weathered and whatnot. Okay. Xcraft 39 back here with a quick update. So I've got the exhaust stacks painted and installed, and for that I chose to use the all-clad burnt iron. So it gives it sort of a... I used a base coat of aluminum first, and then sprayed light coats of the burnt iron, and it has sort of a brownish tint to it. I know you're not going to be able to see it here, but it gives it a fairly realistic look. I also got the landing gear assembled and installed. I got the landing gear doors painted with the invasion stripes, and all installed. Tail wheels installed. And all the decals are done, of course. So right now I'm at the point of doing a clear coat and peeling masks. So peeling masks is always the best part. You see the reveal of the windshield and the cockpit and all that, and that's always a fun part. So let me get some clear coat sprayed, and I'll be back with you for that reveal.